Hello there, everyone, again at YouTube. I am here, and I am back. It's been 2 weeks, I know. I say this every video now anymore, it seems. I'm sorry again. I've not been getting videos up. I've just been dealing with lots of schoolwork and just watching a lot of movies and just not really having any motivation to do videos. And just a mixture of all those things. But I am back, and today I have to talk about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, The House on Haunted Hill. The House on Haunted Hill is the story of a few different guests who are invited to a mansion to spend the night in it by a very wealthy man who promises them each $10,000 if they can stay the entire night in this house that is supposedly haunted. We have our almost it's almost a main character in the form of the actual owner of the house. I cannot remember his name at the moment, I'm sorry about that, but he actually believes that there are in fact ghosts in this house. He knows about how his brother died while taking care of the house, and a bunch of other people have died in the house before him. So he's very superstitious about the ghosts and about the entire thing altogether, and of course he goes anyway because he's the owner of the house. This video, in case you couldn't tell by the title, it's not going to be a review of sorts, and that's mostly because I don't really need to review it. I just need to tell you how I personally enjoy this movie so much, and why it is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So, I'm going to just completely ban, like, the review from my titles, probably for the rest of the month, actually, for movies that I'm talking about. Because I'm going to just do horror movies the entire rest of the month, and that's all you need to know about that. So, House on Haunted Hill is a very special movie for me, mostly because of the first time I watched it. The first time I watched it was on Netflix, way back in 2012, I think? Maybe 2011. It might have even been longer back than that. And I was homesick. I was sick as could be, and I hated it. It was awful, and I was nodding off on and off sleep multiple times. And I decided, hey, it's October, so let's just watch a bunch of horror movies I have on Netflix. And there were a bunch of obscure ones I had never seen before or even heard of. So I was like, you know what? Let's try some new stuff out. And I had watched John Carpenter's The Fog. I think I had watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And then there was some other ones. I can't exactly remember them all right at the moment. But of course, the one I remember the most was House on Haunted Hill. And I remember just seeing it, I'm like, this looks pretty interesting, this looks pretty, like, it could be creepy, you know? And I realized it was, like, old, it was in black and white, and being the very naive person that I was, very naive kid I was like, it's old, though, But, while I did in fact nod off multiple times throughout the movie, I had to keep rewinding the movie at times because I had nodded off at a certain scene. I'm like, oh crap, what happened now? I would wake up and not realize what happened. And it's a very nostalgic film for me in that sort of sense as well. I make sure I watch it about every year now, at least around October Halloween time in general. I make sure to watch it every year, and it's become a staple of my Halloween movie watching experience. So why do I think this is a great horror movie? I think it's the fact that so much of the horror is the suspense and the build-up, and not really seeing anything. You don't see anything in the movie in terms of stuff. In terms of like an actual ghost or being of any sort like that. Not once, I don't think, in the movie do you ever see anything like that. The entirety of the build-up and the actual suspense is from the characters talking about events that occurred in this house, or like how people had been killed in the house and whatnot, and that's where the true like creepiness and horror, and then it turns into like this murder mystery esque movie, and it becomes genuinely creepy. And then the plot twist happens and you realize, whoa, no way, that's cool. what? That they can't. I can't believe they did that. That's crazy. And I think it is just a great movie in regards to just the way it builds up to nothing, basically. And some people are usually turned off by that sort of thing, in which they are just like, oh, well, I don't really care for it because it had a lot of build up and then just nothing happened. It's like, and sometimes that's the point of different mediums, in which sometimes nothing needs to happen. Sometimes it is just a grounded movie, and we're just meant to believe that there is more to it than we thought there was. Of course, another thing that definitely heightens the the movie for me is the performance by Vincent Price, one of the greatest horror actors ever. He just has the best voice for it, he has the best look, he has the best range for it. I think he's definitely one of the best horror actors ever, and of course, again, in this movie, he just exemplifies those qualities about him as a actor. He is the best part of the movie, of course, and he just sells every scene he's in, almost making you really not even care about any of the other characters. You're just like, what's gonna happen to Vincent Price, though?
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there's no way out. The windows have bars that a jail would be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There's no electricity, no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So, if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I shan't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested in your reasons for this, party. Aside from pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost. And now my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc., being only creations of hysteria, your party should be a success.
Well, Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
7 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
I can't even remember the freaking character's name. I only just remember, hey, it's Vincent Price. Yeah, it's funny how that works, actually. Yeah, but again, the real build-up to the horror is from these conversations people have. Like, at one point, someone talks about how there's this vat of acid in the basement, and how someone got pushed into this vat, and only thing that came out was the bones, and now these ghosts haunt, and the people who have died in here are haunting it now, and the ghosts are actually, like, pose a threat, because the ghosts don't just, like, screw around, like, well, the story of the ghosts is they don't just screw around, they actually kill people. They kill people and then they eat their flesh and everything, and it's like, what? What's up with these ghosts? But it actually heightens up the fear factor a little bit, knowing that these ghosts aren't just going to play pranks on you like a poltergeist or something. They're actually going to harm you, very much so. But what I definitely like the fact that it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then it ends up just being this inside plot. Spoilers for The House on Haunted Hill. Ends up being this inside plot. Vincent Price, who has married like a bunch of people before, but all his wives mysteriously die for some reason, and then his wife, as of now, decides that she's going to attempt to kill him in this plot, which involves him giving these guns to all the guests, and then them confusing one of the guests into shooting Vincent Price and everything, and it's actually a clever plan, believe it or not. But then, of course, Vincent Price has his own a plan of his own, and then you see that he knew something like this would happen and everything. And I actually really enjoyed that part of the movie, in which it becomes more so of a thriller than a horror movie. But that's not something that should be looked down upon, because the movie is still great as a horror movie itself. While that might not get you guys exactly excited to watch this or anything, I definitely recommend watching The House on Haunted Hill. It is a very, very good classic horror film. I think it's one of the better ones of that era. I have so much nostalgia for it. It's definitely one I have to watch every year, year after year. While, yeah, it may not have horror elements all throughout, it is definitely a horror movie overall, and in that sense, I love The House on Haunted Hill, guys, and I definitely can't say that I haven't really seen Vincent Price in any other roles, actually. I need to watch more movies by him, but he's a fantastic actor. I definitely do, again, recommend you check out House on Haunted Hill. It's great. It is on Netflix Prime streaming right now, actually. And I think there's the black and white. I think there's the color version, which is on there as well, but I could be wrong about that. That's free to stream right at the moment, so if you want to watch it, now's your chance to do so. And yeah, definitely check out House on Haunted Hill. It has some great effects for its time. It really makes use of all the different effects that they could use, and giving a genuine sense of terror in this black and white film, just with a simple plot. And that is why it's definitely one of my favorite horror movies, guys. Oh, and I'm sorry I went on a little bit of a tangent there by the end, but I do genuinely think this is a fantastic movie. Guys, I do want to thank you again so much for watching my videos. Thank you for being patient with me and getting my uploads done and everything. It's just been a little bit stressful at the moment, so yeah. Throughout the rest of the month, like I said, I am going to be just doing reviews of horror movies. I might do like 1 or 2 lists. I think I'm going to do a big segment in which I talk about a certain type of horror movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to have a little skit prepared for one of my videos. It's going to be great. I'm going to have so much fun with it, and I'm going to talk about my favorite horror movie of all time. You guys probably already know what that is, unless you haven't watched my top 10 horror movies of all time. But I finally decided I need to make a big, long video describing why I like it so much, and that is going to be uploaded on Halloween Day. And with that, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Check out House on Haunted Hill. It's a fantastic horror movie, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.